Right, hello everyone, and welcome back to round four. We will be featuring Finabas versus Benariusz shortly.
Yeah, Finabas, one of our Alpensee members. Looking forward to see him play. And I already checked his team sheet on Limitless. He's bringing Mega Gengar and Mega Garchomp with him. Mega Gengar was like one of my favorite Megas to play in back when we first had Megas, in combination with that Whimsicott. So love to see it here again.
Yes, we do see Finabas running two megas and Benariusz only running one. I'm gonna wait until everyone else can see the team sheets before we feel too much about it.
But Benariusz is going to be playing that Mega Floette. We can't say as much, which is, the Pokemon we were talking about earlier, about how powerful it's going to be in this meta, and you definitely need something to check it. And really, I mean, a Mega Gengar does sound like a pretty good way to deal with that.
Yeah, they've just got confirmation that team sheets are ready, so we will be seeing them shortly. We do see Finabas with another Whimsicott team with fake tiers to provide power for the Mega Gengar. It also means that the Scarf Rotom can actually do a lot more damage than you think it does. We see the Scarf Rotom with Electro Web, Hydro Pump, Volt Switch, and Trick. Trick could be useful to double against, for example, like Sinistra. Sinistra really does not want to get tricked. A Choice Scarf.
Yeah,
We
Choice Rotom Wash is like also a set I really, really enjoy seeing because Rotom Wash is already a really good Pokemon as is. Once it suddenly gets fast, that's really scary, and just tricking the Choice Scarf potentially into something that absolutely does not want to have it is also just really good. Like, imagine going for that choice scarf trick into something like the Incineroar, not only locking like one of the best support or the best support Pokemon in the game into only being able to use one move, but you also take its Citrus Berry, which is anyway an item that you can also play on Rotom Wash, and it's really, really good. So, yeah, love that set and excited to see it here.
we do also see that Aurora Marsh actually is just a very good Pokemon into the matchup. Basculate and Pelipper are both hit super effectively on Calgon's Electric Shot. Despite Rotom being a water type, Electric Shot just isn't hitting Rotom for super effective. You do threaten Incineroar. The only real ways to deal with the Rotom are that Dinisha and perhaps that Floette. Speaking of Floette, it's the only Mega on Benariusz' team, so unless what we saw last round where Hodge brought neither of his megas, we probably are just going to see the Floyd have to come, just because of how strong that Pokemon is. What do you think is the mega choice from Finabas' end?
Well, I feel like the Gengar here could be really, really nice. I mean, not only are you a poison type against a Floette, although Floette,
We
doesn't
are
have
just
bad
going to see.
special defenses, but we're gonna see what Finabas decides to bring. It is gonna be that Gengar right there, so I guess he
And
agrees
we
with
speak.
me.
Yeah. And speak of the devil, we do see both Gengar and Floette immediately hit the field. However, we have also seen that Basculita hit the field with potential for last respects into the Gengar. It's only 50 base power right now, but Gengar is not known for being the most defensive Pokemon of all time.
Well, the Gengar itself, maybe not, but the Mega Gengar, definitely not so bad. The Incineroar is going to switch in here. That Intimidate is going to weaken that Sneaslord's attack a little bit here. And
Or
I'm
not.
going to guess, or not, because the White Herb is there. That means you're not going to get or you're not going to recover any close combat defense drops. But, getting rid of Intimidate, just as good. We are going to see the Mega Gengar come out here. I'm guessing the Floette might also go for that Mega. It is going to come out here, therefore, then and you
Powerful.
have to be careful here with the Floette. You don't want to take too much damage or just get knocked out from two poison types. And yeah, it's just going to
Yes,
go for a Protect first.
yeah, the issue is that Floyd is now trapped in versus two poison types. It's just protected, so now we are just going to see Shadow Pokemon with Incineroar here. It isn't going to do that much damage, it's just still a Mega Gengar. Oh, we do see the special defense drop, which might just be something that you have to watch out for. Um, right now, Finabas is just fairly a lot of damage with both Sludge Bomb into the Floette and Close Combat into Incineroar.
Absolutely. And Gengar is like, very powerful special attacker, cannot get fake outed, but Floette is gonna go down here through that sludge bomb. It is gonna be a critical hit. I'm actually really curious as to if that mattered, because, I mean, Gengar is like a very powerful special attacker, and that was a super effective hit, but Floette also does not have terrible special defenses. So,
it does have it actually has great special defenses. It has 148 base special defense. Which, for reference, is almost as like high as Mega natural speed.
Yeah, so that's some info for you right there on this new Pokemon there, but that means that that Mega on that side is down for this game. The Pelipper is going to come in here now, and there is that potential to go for that rain mode with the Archaludon in the back, but the Sneasler is still going to be a threat. Incineroar going to go down to that close combat. This duo of poison types is just being such a menace here right now. Incineroar goes down, or actually we know that the last Pokemon is that Basculegion we saw in the lead. Sludge Bomb into the Pelipper is also going to bring it down to 4 HP.
I was going to say that in the Pelipper it did also weaken the Incineroar's Flare Bits, but that doesn't seem to have mattered since Incineroar just went down in one turn anyway. There's going to be Basculegion here, and now we have Last Respects as an opportunity. Sneasler, however, is the fastest thing on the field thanks to the Unburn ability. Well, not the fastest thing. It is slower than Basculegion, but it's still incredibly fast. If the Basculegion wants to go for Last Respect the Gengar, you have to respect Sneasler, just KO your Pelipper that very turn. And then give a single Pokemon remaining.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I mean, this is like, it's not over yet, right? You have a Basculegion in the rain here. Sneasler is going to protect. Pelipper is going to protect as well. But you need to catch up here against Finabas. Gengar also going to go for a protect. Everyone's protecting this turn, just trying to see what is Basculegion locking into. Is going to be that Last Respect, and Pelipper can't protect can't protect anymore.
Yeah. This also just stalls out a turn of Tailwind for Finabas's end, which means there is only 2 turns of Tailwind remaining, I believe.
Yes, absolutely. And, you have the rain up and you have the tailwind up, but you need to make the most of it quickly. Mega Gengar is going to go down to that Last Respect. If you're Finabas, you might actually not, you probably don't care about that too much here. You do get the Dire Claw off on this Pelipper, and, Basculegion on its own as the last Pokemon is a big threat. That Last Respect is now at like max power, but it can always only target one target at a time, and you still have 2 Pokemon in the back. So I think if you're Finabas here, you're feeling very, very comfortable going up against this final fish.
And one of this Pokemon is the Incineroar, which when Basculegion is just locked into the Scarf Flash Respects, Incineroar here can take those pretty well. Basculegion is going to go for Last Respect, and this is going to KO the Sneasler here. How much damage does this Throat Chomp do you think?
The Darkest Lariat, if it doesn't KO, definitely, will KO next turn. The Basculegion is locked into Last Respect, so, is not going to be able to switch moves, and Incineroar should be able to take a Last Respect fairly easily. Even if it does not, the Garchomp is right there. You can only target one Pokemon at a time, so this is going to be game 1 for Finabas, for sure. And I guess, for game 2 now, you need to maybe preserve the Mega Floette better. Maybe go for the Rain mode earlier, bring in the Mega Floette a bit later when you've dealt with the 2 poison types, or, maybe KO'd one of them, weakened one of them a bit more. Basculegion, gotta go down to that Darkest Lariat here easily, and let's see what kind of adaptations we'll see in this game 2.
Yeah, I do agree with you that Floette being brought in the lead perhaps left you susceptible to Mega Gengar just trapping you in and just taking you out with that Sludge Bomb as we saw in game 1. Although perhaps it did live without the critical hit, we don't know for sure. Though I doubt Floette would be surviving with much HP left, even without the critical hit from Sludge Bomb.
Yeah, like even if it had survived, that would have been a lot of damage it's already taken, and it only has fairy type attacks, so, wouldn't have done a lot against 2 poison types. I mean, against the Sneasler maybe, because it's neutral, but that Mega Gengar I think would have still been sitting very, very nicely. So, Mega Floette, not just the kind of Mega you could throw out there and easily just shoot a lot of damage with. Turns out that a Fairy type still will struggle against 2 Poison types, especially if they're both faster than you are. I'm actually not sure of Mega Floette's base speed right now, but I do believe that... Oh, the Gengar went first, so it was faster than that Floette, yeah.
We're just gonna jump straight into game 2. Sorry.
Yeah, no, you're good. We are going to see the rain lead here, so yeah, as I was saying, I think this is a very fair adaptation to make here to, go for the early rain mode. And it's going to be just Gengar and Sneasel once again here for Finabas. Honestly, it's still very fair, just because, the threat of the Mega Floette makes it, almost necessary to be able to deal with that in the lead. And, could still be a very strong lead against both of these Pokemon as well.
Yeah, with Basculegion having the Choice Scarf adaptability in the rain, it can just threaten to KO pretty much anything with its Wave Crash. It can perhaps just KO Sneasler with a Flip Turn even. But you also do just remove Mega Gengar from the field, which means that Basculegion can't really be return KO'd by the Sneasler. Pelipper, what do you think Pelipper is going to try to do here? It can target a Sneasler, but it can also set Tailwind.
Could set Tailwind. It does have the Focus Sash, so it will be able to live at least 1 turn. Even if you double up the Pelipper here and leave the Basculegion untouched, I think that's still a good position for it. But Pelipper is actually just going to go for a Protect here. Does not want to get a Fake Out from the Sneasler, I'm guessing. And there it is, so that does come out here. And the Basculegion is actually not going to move boost. The Gengar is actually faster and just takes it out.
Yeah, so Gengar being fast in the Star Basculegion, that means the Star Basculegion is an animate nature. It's trained to be more aggressive physically in sacrificing speed, and that does seem to have cost a lot.
Yeah, it's unusual to see a Scarf Pokemon be outspeeded, but with the speed tiers we have in that meta, that is something you need to watch out for. And it was an adaptability Basculegion, of course, if you're playing the Choice Scarf, you might feel like you don't need the boost from that Swift Swim, but that means that is a very important Pokemon that you lost there. The Incineroar is going to come out here now. It might try to help out a bit, but you do have to respect that Sneasler. It is going to go for a Protect, a double Protect coming out here actually, so that could give Pelipper an opening to go for a Tailwind if it so wishes. But who knows if that will really help then here.
It does.
It does come out.
Yeah, it does come out. And now, because Sneasler hasn't activated White Herb yet, there's a possibility that this Pelipper just outspeeds in one hit KO with the Sneasler before it can be a threat to the Incineroar.
I mean, the Incineroar here is still going to be threatened by the Sneasler, right? I mean, both of these Pokemon here are still going to have to be somewhat afraid of both the Sneasler and the Gengar. They're just both such heavy hitters, but you do have the advantage here that the Incineroar could maybe even get a parting shot out. You don't really have any Dark types to hit the Ghost type with, but the
Sneasler is going to be... Sneasler is also just going to go first again, even under Tailwind.
Yeah, again, that's not too surprising, especially since the White Herb was already activated and you get that unearned boost. But the Hurricane is going to be able to come out here, take that Sneasler out. But again, I'm wondering, is it too little too late? The Basculegion's already down, the Incineroar is down. Pelipper, not really the greatest heavy hitter, and it is going to take this massive Sludge Bomb here. The Pelipper survives at 4% again, but gets that poison.
Now Pelipper goes down immediately from that, and then we do see it's Incineroar, Pelipper, are Basculegion both down, so he is down to the final Pokemon, and I believe that should be the Floette. And the Mega Gengar is still on the field, full health, and the Whimsicott comes in. You know what happens next? It is going to be Whimsicott does get access to fake tears.
Yeah, I mean, you could also just go for a Tailwind to match that out, but I think it doesn't really matter. There's nothing this Floette can really do here. So yeah, it's going to be a forfeit there. That is a 2-0 for Finabas. The power of 2 poison types against that powerful fairy type reigns supreme. And yeah, I'm guessing that Ben did not expect the Basculegion to get outspeeded by the Mega Gengar, since is a choice scarf Pokemon. But that is just how fast Mega Gengar is, and Basculegion on its own really not that fast of a Pokemon. That's why it likes to take advantage of things like choice scarf or its swift mobility, which I mean in this case it had adaptability. But if you were Swift Swim in this case, you would have outsped the Gengar and been able to go for that powerful wave crash, and that would have definitely gotten a KO.
Yeah, if the Basilisk outspent the Gengar turn one, we would have probably had a very different game. It was probably likely that even Benariusz just didn't know about this interaction. It just expected the Basilisk to move first because, as you said during the game, you don't expect Choice Scarf Pokemon to be outsped by a non-Choice Scarf Pokemon most of the time.
Yeah,
We do all,
you don't. But I guess that's something you can keep in mind now moving forward in this meta, that, okay, maybe I have to make sure that my Basculegion outspeeds things that are as fast as Mega Gengar.
yeah. We do also have seen like both the previous round and this round have been almost one-sided in their matchups. This like metagame seems to be it seems to be something with like restricteds. We saw that with single restricteds. We've seen that with a lot of megas. A lot of matchups are just decided by how the megas match up into each other, or like how a certain Pokemon could just sweep the game. Um, in this set, it
Absolutely.
was.
Yeah.
This set it was the Mega Gengar that just managed to like completely go through the team, especially with the Sneasler to just remove Incineroar. And on Benariusz' side, that Incineroar was also just never really a threat.
Yeah,
Um,
you really like Incineroar is supposed to be there to support the rest of your team, right? And I feel like the heavy hitters did not really get a chance to really do anything. Finabas just overwhelming on his side with his dual poison types there so well.
and there was an argument to have brought Sinistcha into the set. Even though it does die to Shadow Ball, it does like buy you one single turn with that Rage Powder. It also can set Trick Room up. But no, it doesn't have Trick Room actually, which is a very interesting choice.
No, but like one rage power sometimes could be all you need. Also just getting a tailwind out there earlier could have made a huge difference. If you also just had maybe even against something like Finabas' team, you leave the Mega Floette behind. We saw in game or in round 3 that people were not afraid to leave both of their megas behind, and it ended up winning them the set. So in this case, maybe you get a tailwind up, and then you get that Basculegion going, maybe even get the Archaludon in there and fire off some powerful Draco Meteors. And Sinistcha, I'm sure, might also have a role somewhere in there. Sometimes even just one Rage Powder, one turn of redirection could be all you really need.
Yeah, that one turn could be what you need. However, it does also just seem like a very difficult matchup for Benariusz. Especially with Incineroar, not being able to hit Mega Gengar. Your only way to hail the Mega Gengar is the Basculegion. Who, as we saw, it just got outsped and one shot by that same Mega Gengar. But what do you think is like the way to go around that Gengar?
Like I said, I think you do need to just get that tailwind up earlier, and yeah, you can throw in the Incineroar in there the second turn. Like if you switch out the Basculegion, bring in Incineroar, Sneasler already burns its Fake Out turn, then you have Fake Out pressure into the Sneasler. Your Pelipper still has the Focus Sash, so you were definitely getting off that tailwind. It might go down, like in this case, just taking a Sludge Bomb, maybe going down to the Poison would have been ideal. Then you have Rain up, you have Tailwind up, you bring in the Basculegion, and then you just start going for wave crashes. And I believe like that Sneasler, I think, would not have been able to do much against the Basculegion. I don't think it had a Dark type move on it.
Um, Yeah, it would probably yeah, it did not have a dark type move, it just had close combat and dire claw on
It
it.
did, yeah. So I feel like that could have been a really nice position to have that Basque Legion in. But yeah, you know, for next time if you face that matchup ever again, we are going to head into a short break again, and I think we do still have some time before the next round starts, since that was a very quick best of three. So we'll be back with some fun time in just a little bit.